use your trained trainers in your district and reach out to your consortium to start with trained trainers as well. On our next slide, we have resources around special areas evaluations. So if you click in kind of the middle left-hand corner, the special areas box has both a quick guide if you are new to being a special areas manager, as well as those guidelines and orientation materials for school counselors, school librarians, and speech language professionals. So if you're needing to remember, how do I load new evaluators to do that course in Moodle? Who do I send the list of who's finished the course in Moodle? All of that is available on this page and that quick guide that we've prepared for you. Finally, some of you are new to your role, and whereas you may have been a user of SC Lead and had to enter evaluations in it before if you were working at a school level, you're now having to figure out how SC Lead works and explain it to other people who are trying to do that. We have a number of resources available on demand that focus on SC Lead, and those are in those kind of middle of the tic-tac-toe box on our effectiveness page, that link that says sclead.org overview and resources. The training site is really nice and has a lot of videos and PowerPoints that take you through. There are help guides on different things like setting up evaluations and creating evaluations, what the bulk tools do. But as the year goes on, the two resources that we have highlighted, Understanding Bubbles and Bars for classroom-based teachers and special areas educators, that'll be a nice guide for you to understand what you're seeing in SC Lead from an administrative level. And then finally, if you are one of our districts that is interested in assistant principal evaluation, you should know that there is no required assistant principal evaluation model in South Carolina. But starting a few years ago, we increasingly got questions about this, and we got feedback from assistant principals that we serve in our leadership development program that the kind of feedback they get for their growth and development is wildly inconsistent across the state. And so we came up with a set of forms that are mapped to PDEP that are available to you and optional for you to use. You can find them by going to ed.sc.gov, clicking on Educational Leadership, that school and district administrators page, and then clicking on Assistant Principal Evaluation. On the next page, we've had a lot of questions over the summer. Can I use SC Lead? I know these are optional, but can I somehow engineer SC Lead to do AP evaluations? It is a little bit complicated, but we'll go through the steps here for you. And then I encourage in the chat, if anyone has used an AP evaluation model or you've been putting it in SC Lead, please feel free to share your tips and tricks in the chat. But what we found by working with some districts is many of your APs who are part of the evaluation process are already staffed as school staff, which is a non-evaluated role. So if you want to use SC Lead to track those AP evaluations, here's a workaround. You'll go and click on that AP's name, and it goes to the page in their profile that shows you their evaluation history. If you click on Add an Evaluation for the current school year, once you've added that, it won't fill in all of the contract level and everything because it's not recognizing them as an evaluated position. But once you've created the evaluation, you can go into evaluation settings, which is the page that you're seeing here on the screen, and you can select other locally developed model as the evaluation model, classroom-based teacher as the type, evaluation level of GBE, and contract level of LOA. And the reason that you want to do this is this both keeps this AP evaluation out of your teacher evaluation stats, so it doesn't show up as an SCTS evaluation, and it keeps them out of your principal evaluation stats, so they don't show up as a principal in your PDEP donut that Vicki will be contacting you all about very soon if she hasn't already for that September 1st deadline. So it's just a way to keep your data a little cleaner. But if you set it up this way, you will be able to have that goals-based evaluation form. If you're interested in learning more about AP evaluations or just supporting APs in general. When I pass the mic, I'll put Tom Smith out of our office, his contact information in the chat. He's happy to talk with any district that wants to think through how could we support APs more strategically, either using this tool or using another tool. We just see more and more APs who are being bumped up to principals more quickly in their tenure as educational leaders, and we want to make sure that they're as supported as possible throughout their leadership journey. So those are all the basic resources. I'm going to pass the mic over to Jenny with some adept reminders.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see you all again and back in the groove. So we know many of you are in different places with the staggered start of the school year, but we do want to show you this calendar that can give you an idea of the key milestones and monitoring steps that you're going to be taking as you guide the ADEPT process this year. And I want to specifically talk about the highlighted section, which is kind of where we are right now, the July through September. So we'll make sure to conduct district evaluator trainings and orientations and review how sclead.org features will be used by the district. Make sure to conduct differentiated evaluation orientations for your educators by contract level, including sclead.org orientation signatures, review of evaluation processes and teams, and sclead.org requirements. Be sure to create your evaluations in sclead.org and confirm initial settings data, for example, the current year's contract level, evaluation type. Also, be sure to confirm evaluation teams are set by district or school level personnel. Monitor principal and teacher signatures for SLO initial conferences, and confirm all teams have scheduled the announced preliminary evaluation cycle observations. So that's just to kind of get us started at the beginning of this school year, and then you can see other milestones and progress monitoring steps throughout the remainder of the year. So I will pass the mic back to Lila as you kind of glance over the remainder of that calendar.
Thanks so much, Jenny. On the next slide, one of the tasks that comes up this time of year is that SC Lead is populated, the list of people in SC Lead is populated by SC Educator. SC Educator is something that's usually updated by your finance department. So some of you just have to walk right across the hall. You're in a small district office. You can get that person to update it, or it's already a part of their plan. And so the list of people in your school already matches the list of people that have been hired into your school that should be in your school. There's some districts where the finance is on a little bit of a different timeline. They don't technically have to update their lists until later in the year for State Department purposes. And so you may be seeing that people who are new hires or have transferred from another district just aren't showing up in where they should be. And so that's what this section will be all about. You may want to think about cleaning up your staff list if you want to avoid creating evaluations for educators who aren't in your district anymore. Or if you want to make sure certain people don't have access to SC Lead that shouldn't have access to SC Lead as you create evaluations for this year. Or if you have folks who moved positions or schools, but it hasn't been updated yet. So here's some information about how you can clean up those staff lists. If we head to the next slide, the first thing you may need to do is remove staff members, and you can manually add and remove educators and administrators independently of SC Educator until it updates. So at the district or school level, you're going to see filters for on your staff lists on that dashboard. You'll see filters for academic year, evaluated staff, and non-evaluated staff. You'll see a list of educators, and this is pulled from SC Educator, however updated that is for your district, and it has their corresponding roles and evaluation types, and then a place to click for details over on that right-hand side. To remove a staff member who no longer has a teaching position or is no longer at your school or district, you go to the school or district staff list, locate the educator, click on details, and then click on edit on the new page that appears. You can edit their role to be non-evaluated and their evaluation type to be non-evaluated and click submit. and that will automatically move them into that non-evaluated tab, so you're not looking at them as you're creating that list of evaluations or using the bulk evaluation tool. Over on the next page, we can talk a little bit about adding staff. Again, when your finance department updates SC Educator with that staffing list for finance purposes, all of those lists will be loaded into SC Educator. So you may not need to do this, but if there's anyone that you do need to add, they haven't been added by your finance staff yet, you can follow the steps that are here on the screen. So you'll go to that school specific staff list. You can add school staff, which is a little plus that's available there. And then this screen shows up. You want to make sure as you're searching for the right person, you look up last name, comma, first name, and then pick the person with the right CID, because you don't want to assign Vicki Troffler, who works at the State Department, to your school if there's another Vicki Troffler who's the actual one who works in the school. So it's really important to do that verification. The other part is make sure you select the correct position code for them so that it matches and melds with their SC Educator record. Because if you have them staffed in a different position and your finance people put a different position code, those records will not mesh. You want to enter the appropriate role if they're an educator or school staff member, and then click submit. If you want your assistant principals to have adept administrator rights, then your role should be school staff. And remember that you can only add those school adept administrator rights to either principal or school staff. So if we can head to the next slide, and I see the feedback from Will, it shows their date of birth when you try to add staff instead of CID. I think you might be able to see CID as well, but if it's just date of birth, make sure you have SC Educator pulled up as well so you can double check that. So thank you, Will. You are in it much more than I am, so I trust you, and we'll definitely update that on our information. So thanks for that. The other thing that you may see is duplicate staff members. So in that case, for example, where I added someone, but I had the PCS code slightly differently, and it didn't meld the records, I may want to delete the extra person with that name on the staff record. So the way that you do that is when you click details on a staff assignment, if it is a person who has been manually added by someone in your district, you will see a delete option. You'll see that little trash can button on the record. You can also check the bottom of the record if it has created by, a date, a time, and then by 0. You know that that record is created by SC Educator. If it has created a date, a time, and then by some longer number, that is the ID of someone within SC Lead who has created it. That's their SC Lead number. And so all of those you should be able to delete. Another tip is if you have created an evaluation record and started entering evaluation data under an educator's profile without a CID, and then later they get a CID, you're going to want to enter that evaluation data in the profile with the record created with their actual certificate number if those did not merge properly, because that's where you're going to want to keep their entire evaluation record. You can remove any additional evaluation record that you've created under an educator's profile. To remove those, you can locate the extra evaluation record, go to settings, and then scroll down to remove. And you can remove those at any time before the end of the school year, before adept evaluations close. At this point, that is a lot of information. If you have any questions about cleaning up your school list, please feel free to put those into the chat, and I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to Beverly for another issue we see a lot at the beginning of the school year.
Thanks, Lila. One of the things we've been getting some questions about is reciprocity. And reciprocity is when we have an out-of-state educator who comes to us on a certificate, but the certificates are a little different. And so what we're going to talk about right now is that certificate difference. The SCDE may issue one of two certificates for out-of-state educators, an initial or a professional. The difference is that we issue an initial when that educator is presenting with less than 27 months of qualifying experience from their previous state. So if there's less than 27 months, then we would issue an initial certificate, and that initial certificate would follow the exact same protocol as an initial certificate in state. If we issue a professional certificate to the educator upon entering the state, it's because they've presented with at least 27 months of qualifying experience in an approved setting. And this professional certificate affects contract and evaluation levels differently. It's not like the initial where it follows the same protocols. An out-of-state educator on a reciprocal professional certificate must pass summative adept evaluation in order to be considered for a continuing contract in your district. So it's important for you to know that when you get an educator on a professional certificate who is from out of state, that you put them on annual one summative for their first contract level in your district so that they can get that annual summative evaluation completed so that then you can put them on a continuing contract the following year. All of that is to say that it behooves you to check that history when you hire someone. It's not enough just to go to SC Educator and check to see whether they're initial or professional. You need to go dig a little deeper and look at their experience before you set their contract levels. So that's all I have.
All right, so I'm going to pick back up on the mic and take this next section and spend a few minutes on the professional learning library and some things that will be exciting, especially for our teachers this year, and especially for those who might need some of those renewal credits that are so important. So, the Professional Learning Library, as many of you know, provides on-demand resources that you can access at any time to support instructional leadership development, professional growth, development and evaluations, and new teacher and principal inductions. So there are many endless possibilities for using the Professional Learning Library. The video library allows participants to create their own video playlists in MyPlan. School professional learning communities can decide on a topic, choose a course, and work through a unit together and discuss along the way the topic together. Targeted professional development is where schools can assign groups of learners to specific courses or suggest a learning path. Workshop in a Box is where schools can select a course and work through a unit together during a professional development day. And finally, self-paced courses are always an option for anyone on areas of growth or at areas of interest. To access the PLL, you'll see on the screen where you can locate the Professional Learning Library through SC Lead. You'll click on the Learning tab at the top. Select Library, SCTS, or PDEP standards on the left. And then the PLL courses are listed alphabetically or by standard, as you can see. Once you review some of the courses, you can click on the course title to view. The PLL includes custom designed courses for the SCTS rubric and PDEP, along with a wealth of other content, including instructional strategies, literacy, content-specific work, student engagement, and trauma-informed instruction. Once you select a course and click on it, it will take the register to a learner dashboard where it provides the components of the course. And as you complete each course activity in order, you will earn a green check once the task is completed. And we do have it now where once registered participants complete a course, they can access all the information from that course that they have finished. And then you will the registered users also can have access to a transcript that provides the list of their completed courses, including the topics, dates, tally of credits earned by type, a copy of course certificates for those courses earning SCDE renewal credits, and course surveys. And the best part about the PLL is the option for renewal credits. I've gotten several emails recently about ideas for adding those renewal credits. And so it's option 6 in the SCDE renewal matrix. So these courses are aligned to teacher evaluation rubric and principal evaluation rubrics. They have been vetted by our office, and some of them offer certificate renewal credits. Districts also have the options to approve other courses or mini courses for credit according to the SCDE renewal credit matrix. And then, of course, if you want more information about the PLL, you can go to our webpage on the SCDE website. There's an orange box that says professional learning, and you can find a list of easy access resources to meet any of the needs that you have. And we do have a question or a comment in the box from Will Moody. I would love to hear from other districts that are using the PLL. Seems like a great resource, but I need to get my head around it. It is a fantastic resource, and we are offering a workshop coming up. It is full at the moment. However, it will provide opportunities to really dive into the PLL and use data that you've collected through SC Lead in order to pick courses that might be that can target those areas of refinement that we may be seeing in our teacher evaluations. So I know that's one place people are using the PLL coming up for that purpose specifically. Great question. And of course, Mr. Moody, if you ever need to have any questions, I'm happy to do a Teams call with you and we can go through it some more too. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Rashonda for some frequently asked questions.
I have to unmute myself. So this is just a gentle reminder. How do you load a correction for an annual summative evaluation? Whenever loading the correction for a summative evaluation, please do not forget to that you have to put in a scoring rubric. So when you scroll down, you see the little question that says, are you submitting a rubric scoring form for this request? You need to click yes. And then on the rubric drop-down box, you need to put in South Carolina Teaching Standards 4.0 and add the rubric. Some of you all have sent us summative evaluations and we've rejected them. This could be the case that we didn't receive a scoring rubric. So be sure to add that scoring rubric in. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Lila for questions and discussions.
Thanks so much, Rashonda, and thank you for running tech for us. It's really, really hard to juggle all of that. So we appreciate you doing that for us today. We did want to add our office dates for the year. We've updated them here, and we're soon to update them on the website as soon as I put on my webmaster hat, which I haven't done, but now that I've said it in public, it will make me spend some time on it. But we have shifted, instead of doing office hours every single month for effectiveness, you will see that some months we are taking some time to focus in on the special areas. So in September and in January, some of the feedback we got from you guys in our annual survey was all of the clicks for the special areas evaluation still aren't clicking with my evaluators, and I have to do a lot of reminders. And so we wanted to have at least one time in the fall and one time in the winter where we're talking through what's coming up for those evaluations and talking through that process so that you can then go back and have some easy resources to share with your evaluators, just in case checking in on that student growth goal or some of those other pieces and parts of the special areas evaluations are something they need support on. So we are specializing and really separating those out those months so you can come to the ones that make sense to you. We encourage you, the link is the same for all of our office hours, so feel free to share that link with other folks if you do have, say, a head counselor that's really heading up evaluations for your counselors, or you're lucky enough to have a head SLP and you have enough SLPs that you can send that out to them. We are going to open it up now for discussion, and I'll ask my team if you could look through the chat and see if there's anything. I'll start with the first question, or the last question that I saw that Will posed, which is around the PLL. Has anyone started using it? If you're using it, how are you using it? If you're not using it, but you're thinking about using it, how are you wrapping your head around it? Because we know it's a brand new set of resources. It's different than what we had in SC Lead before. So we'd just love to hear from anyone who's either played around with it or has had your educators in it. I want to put pressure on folks to come on the mic. So Calandra, yes, the PLL is available to all South Carolina educators. It's most easily accessible for evaluated educators through SC Lead, and is available to everyone that's registered for SC Lead, and anyone with a CID can register. It's also available through the Instruction Hub. Well, I will just encourage y'all to take Kara's example. If you're using the PLL, just type it in the chat if you don't want to come on the mic, although you're always welcome on the mic, and we'll field a few more of these questions that are in the chat. So one that's coming in from Charlene: when is it okay to use the delete feature when cleaning up staff lists? If you have 2 duplicate educators, you'll be able to duplicate the added educator, and that's when you can just delete them. You won't see that option if it's something that was put in there by SC Educator through the finance system. Those are the records that you'll have to, if they're in the wrong place, just move them to non-evaluated staff. And then once your finance folks put a termination date in, they will disappear from that non-evaluated tab. Any other question? Team, are y'all seeing any other questions in the chat?
I have one educator or one participant that said she had an educator use the PLL to look up professional development in her area of refinement. And that's what we're seeing a lot. Come a lot of ideas when we had the introduction to the PLL. That was going to be a big thing for that. There was a question.
Jenny, we're also recommending it in evaluator training now as a
Yes.
way to coach when you're evaluating, and offering those areas of reinforcement and refinement. And then we also had Melanie asked if you could assign things to yourself. Yes, absolutely. I accidentally assigned something to everyone in the state by trying to assign it to myself. I don't recommend that.
But if you have district level administrator privileges, you can also bulk assign to multiple people if you need to. Hopefully it'll be one you wanted to bulk assign. We'll also ask if anyone is using the PLL as a way to help mentors maintain their mentor credential. We are recommending that to folks in mentor trainer training, and particularly some of those coaching and evaluation courses we think are really strong fits for the skills that a mentor needs. But even some of those content areas that new teachers tend to struggle in, like building a strong culture in your classroom, or the environment courses, or classroom management, those things sometimes we think are really applicable to help mentors brush up and have a little bit more skill too. So please feel free, once your mentors are teaching standards rubric trained, for those additional hours, use those courses as well.
Calandra said she's been encouraging teachers, and you're right. People do often forget that resource is available. So maybe something like an email blast out to the educators in your district, hyping up the PLL would be a great thing too, to remind everyone, especially for the renewal courses.
And I see another question in here. If we have a teacher who is trying to get certified, but they don't quite have a CID yet, is there a way that we can use SC Lead? Is there a way we can get them into the professional learning library? Those are two different questions. For the professional learning library, the quickest path is, even for non-certified staff that you might want to do some professional development, maybe you have some instructional aides, maybe some of your office staff, you'd like them to take a course, they have a district email, and so they can log in through the Instruction Hub, and I can give you the link to the Instruction Hub. If you haven't checked out the Instruction Hub for your teachers, particularly your induction teachers, there is a curriculum in there, and there are resources to match every course that is offered in South Carolina and mapped to South Carolina content standards for students. So it's an amazing resource, but it also has the whole PLL in there. So you can search the courses, and then it will take you directly, and it will register you for a PLL account by coming in that way. The other way is if you have an educator who is not certified, who needs to come into SC Lead, they can, if they are in SC Educator already, with their date of birth, they can register with their date of birth. It's also possible, particularly for our charter schools that have some folks on teaching staff who are not certified, we can create an account. I would not advise that for people who are applying to get a CID, because then those two accounts will not merge. So we do that in certain cases where we know we're going to have someone non-certified in a teaching position. You can talk to your ADEPT regional contact to be able to add that person if needed. We also do that, for example, if you have a new head of HR who isn't a certified educator, but they need to be an SC Lead, our office can help you out with that.
Lila, Patty Fox is asking if the process for submitting names for folks who have completed special areas evaluation credentials work, if that process has changed. It has not. The special areas manager has access to the spreadsheet template that is to be uploaded to Dr. Kim Howard, and Kim will get those uploaded as soon as she can, but please be patient. She is heavily in the trenches of mentor training right now, and so so please give her a couple days grace.
Thank you for that, Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. This is an updated list of who is in our office, and I know we have had some transition. Some of you have received quite a few emails from me this year changing who your ADEPT contact is. If you are confused, feel free to reach out to any of us, but the most recent list of ADEPT contacts is right there in the chat if you need to know who your direct contact on our team is for teacher evaluation. Any other questions, feel free to put those in the chat or hop on the mic for us. Especially if there's something you wished we'd talked about today.
Hey, Lila. I had a quick question about the, oh, I forget what it's called, the South Carolina Certification Portal.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, I just don't remember. Is there anything I need to do when we obtain an educator from another district that's already like 4.0 trained and they need to go back in and take their exam? Do I just put it all back up on the educator to settle that all up, or is there something I need to be doing?
Probably the thing that will ensure it will happen. The educator is welcome to contact the email address in the chat, support@niet.org, and say, hey, this is who I am. This is where I used to work. This is where I work now. Will you please file me with my new email address in this new district? If you want to send a list of who those folks are, these are now people who are here to NIET, you can do that as well. If you don't trust your educators to do so.
I'm not that organized, but thank you. So yeah. That would be, so I guess, you know, I had an educator that, you know, that's come on board, and I could see, you know, fortunately the credentials are right there in SC Lead, so that makes it very useful. I mean, I could see, oh, you're going to need to retake your exam. And chances are it probably is off an old email, and who knows, there's been 2 districts back. I don't even know, you know, so it's like she would have to remember her email. I suppose, again, she could just go through support, but I just wanted to know if, like, was there any action that I needed to do in order to like slide that person over and attach it to my district, or just let them settle it up?
Well, if you are tired of getting those calls, hey, I can't get in and get certified, you could make it part of your onboarding for folks, evaluators that are coming from other districts, and tell them, by this date, I need you to email support at NIET and get put onto our list, or you could just help them by letting them know they need to clean it up. So it's not, you can handle it however you want to, but that is something that we hear when people start jumping district to district, that they have to remember what email they had, but they can't reset their password. So they end up needing to contact support anyway.
Right. I'll probably just keep rolling with handle it with support. Let me know if I need help.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
And then I do see in the chat where Beverly is letting folks know that the spreadsheet is emailed to folks during SAM training. I think it's also in the support folder. Is that right? Are we still using a Google folder, Beverly, or is that only
all of the
training?
materials out of the Google folder have been updated and posted to the special areas management page on our website.
Mm-hmm.
Two things are not listed there. I mean, two things are not provided there and are provided directly to the SAM. Those are the spreadsheet and the renewal credential form.
So if folks have lost that, should they just contact you directly?
Yes, please.
All right.
There was a question in the chat about evaluator training for October. Through high demand, our trainings are filled up right now and with a long waiting list. And so the team will be, we're going to be meeting in the next month to kind of hash out what our next steps are going to be as far as any future evaluator training. So stay tuned on that. Remember too that in your districts, you have some train the trainers that are that could be used to train some of your staff for SCTS 4.0 evaluator training, and that we are also here to help to assist you all with that if you need it.
Absolutely. If you're a new trainer and you haven't done evaluator training yet and you don't have someone to team up with in your district, we're happy to help you make a love match with a neighboring district, or to talk you through it and help you get ready for that, because we know that especially that first time doing that, getting ready to do that 3 training, it's a heavy lift getting the materials together and thinking through it and thinking through pacing. So we're happy to be your partners with that.
And also, if you're interested in partnering with a neighboring ed prep program, one of your colleges or universities in your consortium or in your area, if you will reach out to me, I'll be glad to make those connections as well if you don't already have a connection. And I do have a couple of ed prep programs that are planning or about to offer trainings for their university supervisors.
And we will take this moment to say, if any of y'all need to go, don't feel like you need to stay for the whole hour. We are going to hang out and answer questions for as long as they are here, but we appreciate you being here. We only can imagine how busy you are right at this moment during the year. So if you need to go handle something, please do that. Thanks for being here. And if you have questions, please come on the mic. If you just want to say hi, if you want to put a question in the chat, we're happy to help you out with those.